What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It is your boy Jonathan Mathis, aka the Sports Judge, and you know it. You know what's up. I'm back for another episode of Speaking with Judgment, and I am joined by my good friend Coach Dante. It's always a pleasure to be joined by him. Coach Dante is a workhorse, man. I see him all over the place. He is always doing shows. It's never ending for him. I gotta give him a lot of love. Give him his flowers for his work ethic. It is simply unmatched, amazing. What's going on, Coach? How are you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. NFL training camp is here. We're on our second day, going on to our third day tomorrow. So I'm ready to get into the topics and talk some football.
Yeah, I actually thought about visiting the Rams training camp once again. They always host that event at UC Irvine, which is not far from here in Orange County, California. And then I know the Chargers, they do their training camp in Costa Mesa, which is also in Orange County, not too far from Irvine as well. I had a lot of fun when I went to Rams training camp last year. It was free. It was free. I was able to see some of the players up close and personal. A lot of the superstar players are the starters. They only took a few snaps, and then after that, they were done. They only, got a little amount of playing time, limited playing time. Didn't see them too much, but it was still fun to be there. And I thought about going for a second year, which would be fun. But yeah, man, it's a lot of stuff happening in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers taking a pay cut. I'm very surprised by that. We'll get into that. We'll get into all these NFL quarterback signings, how these quarterbacks continue to reset the market. We'll talk about that. And we're going to talk about Shohei Ohtani being taken off the market. How risky is that for the Angels? So we got a lot to get into tonight. But first, we're going to start off with the NFL. We know how many NFL fans, how many viewers out there are supporters of the NFL. So we're going to talk about that first. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers since he's a trendy topic. Talking about Aaron Rodgers gets old after a while, but he's he's the big story once again. Yeah. This time he actually takes a pay cut. I am a bit surprised by that. I mean, that's the shockers of all shockers, right? That he takes a pay cut to play for the New York Jets. How well will he perform with the New York Jets? That remains to be seen. We won't really know until the start of the regular season. Now, look, the Jets have a brutal stretch this season. Their schedule, it is not going to be easy. I believe 8 of their 11 teams were all in the playoffs last year. The teams that they're going to face, they were all playoff contending teams. So it's going to be a brutal stretch of games, no doubt about it, for the Jets. The Jets will be tested. The Jets have a great team. They have a bevy of players who are ready to have a breakout year. You have a pretty good defense with Sauce Gardner. So, there's no excuses now. Aaron Rodgers can't come up with a convenient excuse if his team underperforms, if they don't play well, if things go awry. Aaron Rodgers, this may be his last shot at a Super Bowl. It's not going to be easy because they're in one of the toughest divisions in the NFL. The AFC East is not an easy division to win in. It's a tough division. You still got 2 teams that are better than you in that division. I'm talking about the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. So it's going to be very challenging for the Jets. I don't think the Jets come out on top. I think they finish 3rd in the division behind the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. That's a fair assessment. I know the Jets have done a better job this offseason trying to get better. They still have Robert Saleh, head coach, who's coming back in his second year to coach the team. He could be on the hot seat too if this thing implodes, if things don't work out for the New York Jets. And here's another thing. Aaron Rodgers, if he does underperform and if he's going to be this diva that is seeking attention and wants to be in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, then guess what? He is going to be run out of town, because this is New York is a media-driven city, and those media members there, along with the fans, will eat him alive if he's going to be one of those guys that has to be in the tabloids. If this is gonna turn into a circus and this is gonna be a TMZ type moment for Aaron Rodgers, then he's in the wrong place. He's in the wrong place. So maybe he has grown up some. Maybe he is willing to make those sacrifices necessary so he can get another shot at winning Super Bowl championship. Maybe he has finally come to his senses and say, hey, I got to put myself second and the team first. He is finally prioritizing team goals over individual goals. And it's not all about him anymore because he had this selfish act, this selfish persona about himself. And now he is willing to be unselfish, taking less money and thinking about the team first.
Definitely. I think, like I said, I agree with you. I've been saying I think they're the third best team in this division. I don't think they make the playoffs. So when you're the third best team in this division in the AFC East, that calls for disaster. That means you're not making the playoffs. I know their defense is going to be good. Their defense is going to be legit. They have a great training camp battle going on between Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner going on right now. But right now, Aaron Rodgers taking a pay cut, finally coming out and is going to help the team out, help the team get better play, get more players. But other than that, I just think the Jets are going to fall short of a playoff berth. I think they definitely going to be competitive. They do got Allen Lazard over there, who's one of his receivers over there at Green Bay, who does have chemistry. Garrett Wilson was one of the best, arguably one of the top 13 receivers in football last year, and one of the top, probably the top rookie of the league last year. Breece Hall, you got to see how he come back off the ACL injury last year. I know he was on the verge of winning Offensive Rookie of the Year before he went down with an injury. Zach Wilson, no more than the backup, but it seems like he didn't got some things straightened up a little bit now that Aaron Rodgers come in. But other than that, it's nothing special for the New York Jets. I think they'll probably be around the 9 win range, 9 to 8 win range. But I think they will finish. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish 9-8. But I just still think the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills are gonna finish better than that. I just think that defense is gonna give them a legit shot. Now, right, if they score on the offensive side of the ball or not, that's something they struggled with last year on the offensive side of the ball. That defense was on the field too much. But other than that, this is just a case where you got everything going right for the Dolphins and everything going right for the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Buffalo Bills is a potential team that Miami can win this division, but I got Buffalo winning because I think Buffalo, I seen them do it. They done it already. They still got Josh Allen. They still got Stephon Diggs over there. They got James Cook, who's going to get a lot more time. As the running back. Now they do got to get a legit backup because Nyheim Hines out. They got to get a legit backup running back. But other than that, they still got the same guys over there. And the key for the Dolphins is Tua. If Tua can just stay healthy and stay on the field, I think that's the engine to make the Miami Dolphins go. But other than that, about the Jets, I think they no more than the third best team in the AFC East. And when you're the third best team in the AFC East, that you're not going to make the playoffs. Even if you do have a 9-8 record, which is a winning record, that still won't be enough to make the playoffs because the other two teams are going to be just that better than them.
Conceivably, the Jets have a shot to make the playoffs. That is going to be the ultimate goal, is to get into the playoffs. Anything less than a playoff appearance is considered a failure. Someone's job is going to be on the line. People are going to come for Aaron Rodgers' head if things don't work out. If things don't work out because they finally got a franchise quarterback, they finally got a polished signal caller. Now, here's the thing with Aaron Rodgers. he had a drop-off season a year ago. Wasn't nearly as good as he was in previous seasons. You know, he came under criticism for his lethargic play, or have you, however you want to sum it up. It was subpar, right? He didn't play up to his standards. And I think he wants to erase that stigma that's attached to him. I think he wants to prove to everyone out there that he still has something left, that he has a lot in him, and that he's capable of engineering this offense and guiding this team to a Super Bowl, which will be very challenging. It won't be an easy path to the Super Bowl. He would have had an easier path if he would have went to the Denver Broncos or someplace like that. You know, but with the Jets, it's not the easiest road for him. Did he need a change of scenery? Obviously so because he outgrew his time with the Packers. He was disgruntled with the Packers. It showed. That time ran out with the Green Bay Packers. It's unfortunate that he couldn't finish his career in the Green Bay Packers uniform. As a lifelong cheesehead, we know he's a future Hall of Famer, but we also know he comes with a lot of baggage. You know, we also know that he can be a drama queen, that he could be a prima donna. We know all these things about him, that he can be self-centered, that sometimes he put himself first before anybody else, and that he has this elephant-sized sense of entitlement that it's all about him when it's not. It's about your teammates as well. But what's weird to me is that he complained about not having enough weapons in Green Bay, and he basically got the same players that he had in Green Bay. You know, so you complained about not having enough talent around you, and you basically had the same guys come follow you to New York. So, I mean, this Aaron Rodgers experiment for the Jets better work out. If it fails, then that's all bad. And Aaron Rodgers may be forced into retirement if things don't go as according to plan.
Yeah, I mean, this got to work out for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, and of course the way the Jets overachieved last year. Nobody expected the Jets to do what they did last year, and how good their defense was. Even getting Quentin Williams back, signing him right back to a contract extension. I think he's one of the focal points on that defensive line. But other than that, the Jets definitely, it's a lot of pressure on them. People are going to definitely be looking at them in the AFC East. When you get a per guy like an Aaron Rodgers, you expect it to go to a new height, new level. You got his teammate Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, who was on the wish list when he wanted to come over. Unfortunately, Odell Beckham was on that list, but he ended up going to Baltimore over there. So Aaron Rodgers got, and then you also got a guy Joseph. I mean, you got Joseph over there too as well. Corey Joseph over there as well too. Who shows signs of being a very good playmaker, catching the football, but the only difference with him if he doesn't stay on the field a lot, and he's got to be more consistent. So they got all of making on the offensive side of the ball to be very good and give teams problems, but we'll see if they put it together on the football field. It won't be easy at all. You still got the other two teams in the AFC East, and the Patriots won't be too much of a. I don't think they need to overlook the New England Patriots. I know the Patriots roster doesn't look formidable, but when you play Bill Belichick, you're gonna get the best out of a Bill Belichick team out there. Even though Matt Jones is stinking it up in training camp right now, going 0 for 4 in training camp, and Bailey Zappi look extremely better than Matt Jones. You may have to, and later on during the season or during the training camp, you may have to be talking about a quarterback battle between the Patriots, Bailey Zappi, and Matt Jones. So other than that, don't overlook that team. That team is going to be, Bill Belichick is going to come. They're going to come ready to play. And if I'm the New York Jets, I will be coming ready to play. But I think they no more than the third best team in their division. So they're gonna be able to win some games out of conference, of course. But the division games, I think that's gonna hurt them more. That's gonna hurt them a lot.
Yeah, the division games are going to be a kicking ass for the New York Jets, and there's going to be frustrating times for Aaron Rodgers, no question about it. And we all know how Aaron Rodgers responds when he gets frustrated. You know, he starts to blame everyone else around him other than himself. That's just what I see every time I see Aaron Rodgers. But now we're gonna move on to our next topic. We're gonna keep it in the NFL because there's a lot, as you guys know, that's happening in the NFL. Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert got his bag. Justin Herbert is a happy camper after getting paid. Justin Herbert deserves this contract. I like it for him. And you know what? Quarterbacks continue to reset the market. I believe that Justin Herbert is the fourth quarterback this offseason to get a resetting deal as an NFL quarterback. And Justin Herbert, to me, is a very underappreciated quarterback. This is a guy that people overlook. This is a guy that people sleep on. They turn over in bed, they hit the snooze button, and they just completely ignore what Justin Herbert has been able to accomplish over the last 3 seasons in the NFL. Now, look, this guy statistically has some of the best numbers in the NFL. I think what it is with him is just that they don't have the right personnel around him. They don't have the right coaching around him. I think once you get the right coaching, the right personnel, I think Justin Herbert can really take off, and I think he's in the class of the elites. I said this the other day, that Justin Herbert is in the top tier class of NFL quarterbacks. Call me crazy, say I'm silly, say I don't know what I'm talking about. I think Justin Herbert ranks up there among one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think the Chargers have their franchise superstar. This guy has all the desired traits. You look at it, the ambition, he has the leadership, he has the elusiveness, he has the playmaking abilities, he has the arm strength, he has the football IQ. He comes with the complete package. And I like Justin Herbert. I liked him the first day he came into the league. He caught on really fast. He adjusted quickly. He adapted. He got acclimated to the NFL fairly quick. And, he put a stamp on that Chargers organization. And I mean, he is just sensational. He's fun to watch. He has weapons around him. But again, I don't think Brandon Staley is cut out to be an NFL head coach. I felt that he should have gotten fired at the end of last season. I don't know how Kellen Moore is going to work out there. I think Kellen Moore wasn't the greatest hire to replace Joe Lombardi. I don't think Kellen Moore is the greatest play caller like people say he is. I think that was the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. I think he was part of the problem last season. And I think because of his inability to call plays successfully, I think that is what hindered the Cowboys' success. I think now that you see him with the Chargers, I think that's going to be a problem for Justin Herbert. I think he could put Justin Herbert in tough spots, and there's going to be a lot of frustrating and difficult Sundays for Justin Herbert because I just don't think Kellen Moore is the play caller like people think he is. I don't think he is that guy that calls the right plays at the right time. I think there's a bunch of head scratchers. I think there's times that he makes questionable calls and puzzling decisions that is detrimental to his team, and we've seen it. So that's the only concern that I have with the Chargers. But Justin Herbert, man, he is definitely spectacular. He is definitely an enjoyable player, and he's the type of quarterback that you want on your team.
Definitely. I think it was time for Kellen Moore for a little change of scenery. So I'm gonna bank on him coming over from the Cowboys, and it's something different going on over here with the Chargers. But other than that, Brandon Staley was a terrible play caller. He wasn't as good. He wasn't as good. So now you got your hands tied between those two. But other than that, I do think Kellen Moore got some potential, but it was also being frustrated between him and Mike McCarthy, because Mike McCarthy is also a play caller. He also is a play caller as well. So we don't know who was actually calling the plays. One person may say Kellen Moore, one person may say Mike McCarthy may be calling the plays. But other than that, Justin Herbert does deserve his money, and this is the mode we're in right now. Quarterback, you want to do whatever it takes to get your quarterback put together. Signed. Since he came in the league when he was a rookie, he broke multiple records. He came in the league as a rookie, setting records with Anthony Lynn as his head coach. And the Chargers was on a good run when they named him the starting quarterback. They were on a good run at the end of the season. After they had that 50-point blowout versus New England, the team was better ever since then. And then Anthony Lynn ends up getting fired. But don't forget that Brandon Staley in that Jaguars game when they were up, he didn't run the football. He didn't run the football with Austin Ekeler. And the Jaguars ran the football in the second half. They slowed the pace down. They ran the football in the second half. That was the difference. That was why every throw was wide open for Trevor Lawrence, because Doug Peterson said, "Now, Doug Peterson just said, now, hey, I'm going to take the ball out of Trevor Lawrence's hands and run the ball a little more with Travis Etienne." And Travis Etienne was a 1,100-yard back last year, so he had awesome season, and that was the focal point of the game. Why the Chargers were up, they were just depending on Justin Herbert, to throw pass, and when you're up, you're thinking, hey, let me get Austin Ekeler involved in this game and run some clock and stuff like that. They never, Brandon Staley never got involved. You forgot the year before last, they were playing the Raiders for the last playoff spot. I know a lot of people remember this game. When they were playing the Raiders for that last playoff spot, the Raiders were driving down the field. There was an overtime, matter of fact. It was 3rd and long. Brandon Staley, the clock is running, and Brandon Staley calls a timeout. Stops the clock for the Raiders. The Raiders ends up running the ball. They get in field goal range, and they kick the game-winning field goal, which sent the Raiders to the playoffs and knocked the Chargers out of the playoffs. And with a tie, the Chargers would have even made the playoffs, and the Steelers would have been in. But other than that, those are the mistakes Brandon Staley makes. The Chiefs games that he was up, they should have beat the Chiefs. Brandon Staley took his foot off the gas in those games, started going for every 2-point conversion in the world, and they failed on each and every one of them, and the Chiefs ended up coming back. So it was multiple games that Brandon Staley, gave up, lost the game for the, Chargers. But this is no doubt a great deal for Justin Herbert. He's a top 5, top 6 quarterback in this league. I mean, he's an elite quarterback. His receivers got to stay on the field. Keenan Allen is starting to break down. That's why they got the wide receiver, Quentin Johnson, who's looking very good in training camp. He looks amazing in training camp right now. They also have Gerald Everett, who's really good as well. So this Chargers team, I think they're going to be finishing 2nd place in the division, but I also think they're going to make a wild card spot and make some noise, be a first round scare for some teams. But this is no doubt that Justin Herbert deserves this money to stay. And one more quarterback to look out for, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow bag is going to be looking pretty good now. So now that Justin Herbert got that money, Joe Burrow bag is going to be looking pretty good, pretty awesome.
You know what? Before we get to him, you talked about Brandon Staley. And Brandon Staley, yes, his boneheaded decisions is what cost his team. Just poor decision making. What it is, he gets too damn conservative. But now we'll talk about Joe Burrow, since you mentioned Joe Burrow, because I think he's the next quarterback to get paid. And I mean, his contract is gonna be outrageous. Like when you look at the dollars and cents, that contract, I mean, this dude's about to get paid. And Joe Burrow, man, to me, he's a quarterback that a lot of people have not given his flowers as well. A lot of people, I don't know what it is with Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow is good. I mean, this guy can stretch the field. He has the ability to throw downfield. He is a dynamic player. I mean, this is a guy that you saw run for his damn life. Like, it looked like he was out there on the field running from pit bulls. Like, I mean, if this guy has to escape, if he has to escape from a yard full of vicious dogs, he would. I would bet my money on Joe Burrow that he would run his ass off, jump a fence, and make the greatest escape ever. I mean, you could put that in a movie because Joe Burrow is a bad man. This is a guy who has evaded pressure. This is a guy who knows how to scramble. This is a guy who knows how to buy time and extend plays because of his nifty footwork, but because of his vision as well. He sees the field very well, and he's able to make plays. He's a dynamic quarterback. He's a special breed. And yes, the Cincinnati Bengals have the team to get back to the Super Bowl. Some might argue that they should have got back a year ago. There was a controversial call late in the game against the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. A lot of people say that the Cincinnati Bengals should have been in the Super Bowl, but we're not going to talk about that. But we will talk about how good of a team the Bengals are, and the Bengals are going to be around in the AFC. And to me, they are the best team in the AFC North. I think we all can agree with that. But yes, you're right. Joe Burrow, his payday is coming, and I'm interested to see how much it is. And Coach, he might be the highest paid quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah, that's what it looks like it's leaning towards, because I think he's on the verge of signing Joe. Now, since Justin Herbert got his deal, I think he's the next man up. And now all of a sudden, I think you can be looking for a split of wide receivers too. T. Higgins might be the odd man out for the Cincinnati Bengals receiving core, but I think they got another. I know they got another up and coming receiver that's going to come up and be willing to be solid for T. Higgins. Not saying he's going to be the next T. Higgins, but Charlie Jones is going to be really good. That receiver out of Purdue that played at Purdue this year, he's going to be really good. So, Joe Burrow is going to be the next guy to get his contract, and I think he may be the highest paid, probably the highest paid quarterback, probably. So, again, you alluded to all what you said. I mean, running for his life, that Tennessee game, he survived it, the 9 sacks. He survived the 9 sacks and ended up taking his team down the field and leading them to field goals after field goals. They scored 1 touchdown throughout that whole game, but at the end of the day, he moved the team down the field. He survived 9 sacks. He got sacked plenty of times versus the Los Angeles Rams. If you can argue Jamar Chase was wide open on that last sack that he took until Aaron Donald got to him. Aaron Donald got to him a second early, and he ended up going down. But other than that, Joe Burrow he's the second best quarterback in the league, man. He's the second best quarterback in the league to me, man. Him and Patrick Mahomes, for them guys, Joe Burrow came from Ohio State. He played at LSU, one of the greatest college football teams of all time that you will see offensively of all time. He comes in the league his first year. He was doing a very good job until he got hurt against the Eagles. He comes back the very next year. He leads the team to the Super Bowl. He comes back. They get to an AFC championship, get to another AFC championship. I believe they've been in the AFC championship 3 straight times, if I'm not mistaken, to be honest with you. But other than that, man, the sky's the limit for Joe Burrow, and him and Patrick Mahomes are going to have some battles for a lot of years in the AFC conference.
My dude got that swag too, man. Have you seen him dress?
Yep.
He can definitely dress to impress. I mean, if you had a fashion show, I mean, he'll probably win that too. I mean, that's just how much swag Joe Burrow has, and it's on and off the field. You talk about the bling bling around his neck. You look at the fresh kicks he always has on his feet. Joe Burrow is just a cool dude. I call him Cool Joe. I think this is a guy that's going to be around for many, many years to come. He has taken a beating because he hasn't always had a sturdy offensive line. And he's tough as nails. Dude is tough as nails. And I expect him to have one hell of a season. he's definitely enjoyable to watch. And that Cincinnati Bengals as a whole is a fun team to watch. But now, Coach, we're going to get into our next topic, which is the Dallas Cowboys. Any Cowboy fans in the house? I would like to hear from them. I'm asking if there's any Cowboys watching this because I would like to hear from them because Trayvon Diggs got paid. And now to me, Trayvon Diggs is one of the top cornerbacks in the league. I got him in my top 10. I think he's the most disrespected player now. I've been hearing a lot of negative. I've been getting a lot of negative thoughts from people about him, saying that he is overrated, saying that he is not the best corner in the NFL. Now, look, I get it. He's not. He's definitely not the best corner in the NFL, but he's one of the best. He's flashy. He makes big plays. Now, there's times that he does give up plays. I'm not saying he doesn't, because there has been games where he's gotten blown out of coverage, where he just looked lost, baffled, and looked as if he didn't know what to do with himself. And there's times in games that he looked very bad. But there's games where he's played takeaway, where he has taken the ball away from the opposing team, where he has changed the trajectory of the game because of his ability to be a ball hawking defensive back. To me, he is a playmaking defensive back. I think he is good at what he does. I think he anchors that secondary. And I think with him in that secondary, the Cowboys are tough to beat. They have a very good defense. You look at what they have up front with Micah Parsons. They have guys that can play well on defense. So the Cowboys defense is going to be key for the Cowboys next season. Also, having a guy like Trayvon Diggs can take a lot of pressure off of the offense. Because if you have a guy taking away the ball like he does, like Trayvon Diggs does, then, that could set your team up for a short field and they can get the ball back and the offense is back on the field again. So I like Trayvon Diggs. I think people are disrespecting him. I think people they need to stop with the slander. I've heard enough. Don't you guys know that you guys can be sued for slander? No, I'm just kidding. But understand something here. This dude is legit. This dude deserves to be paid because he is one of the top corners in the NFL, and that is why he got paid. And you guys know how it goes down in Jerry's world. Let's not pretend like you guys don't know. Jerry Jones is one of the most loyal owners in the NFL. Yes, he can be a pain in the ass if you're a Cowboys fan. If you're a Cowboys fan, you feel like your team is big. He wants to be everything, right? He wants to be the GM. He wants to be the owner. He wants to be the coach because he's an egomaniacal owner. We all know that about Jerry Jones, but Jerry Jones takes care of his guys. Jerry Jones makes sure his guys get the bag, and he made sure Trayvon Diggs got the bag. And if you remember, if you go back to 2021, Trayvon Diggs led the league with the most takeaways. He led the league with the most takeaways. So he's not that bad of a corner like people are making it out to be. And Bruce Smith is watching this show, and he says, F the Cowboys, which is understandable. I understand, Bruce. I feel your pain being an Eagles fan. Eagles fans do not like the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? They find their fans very obnoxious. They think their fans are delusional, and that's most of America, right? Outside of Dallas, or if you're not a Cowboys fan, most people think that those are the most delusional fans in the NFL because every year they have this notion that their team is going to win the Super Bowl and be crowned champions. I mean, it's been so long ago since the Cowboys won anything. The last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, I think I was like 11 or 12 years old. That's how long it's been. It's been years since the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl. But I'm not here to clown the Dallas Cowboys, because if I wanted to clown the Dallas Cowboys, I could go on and on and on all night, but I'm going to keep it civil. I'm going to be nice to the Cowboys fans because I got nothing but love for y'all. And I'm sitting here right now having a conversation about your guys' cornerback because I think he's spectacular. I think he's very explosive. I think he's one of the best cornerbacks in the league, and he's definitely going to have an impact on that defense coming into next season.
Yep, I think this was a good move by the Cowboys also of signing their defensive guy back, the one that's going to be on the number one wide receiver every single time. And he's got some wide receiver skills in him because he used to play wide receiver a lot. So that's why sometimes when you see him, a lot of times when you see him catch the ball, you see him catch it like more like a receiver and definitely with his hands. But he's definitely not an overrated corner. He's very good. And he's got very good awareness of where that ball's supposed to be or where that ball is. He's always around the ball every single time. He's not a very good tackler, but you don't need to be a very good tackler. You just need to do what you do best, and that is cover. And that's what he goes out there and does very well. He's a very good coverage cornerback. So I think this is a good job by Dallas, locking him up. And Dallas, like I say, last championship Super Bowl was in 1995, I believe. I believe I was 5 years old at that time. That was the same year that the Rockets won the NBA title. That was the last championship when I was 5 years old. So they haven't won since this 26, going on 26, 20.
It's been a long drought for them. It's been a long drought for them.
Yeah.
Man, I don't even think the California water drought has lasted that long. I mean, we're talking about a serious drought in Dallas. And I mean, those fans are thirsty. They're thirsty, man. Look, hey, they're so thirsty. They're seeing all type of stuff now. They're having all types of illusions. Look, let me tell you something. They're really hallucinating because they have not had anything to drink in years. They're thirsty. Those fans are thirsty for a championship. They've been waiting for a very, very long time, and we have to see what the Cowboys will do and when they will win a Super Bowl. Is this their year? They always assume that every year's their year. They have this assumption that they could win every single year. That's how the Cowboys are. But hey, look, to me, the Eagles are the favorites in that division in the NFC East. Look, hey, I'll put money on the Eagles. And I know I'm making Bruce Smith probably happy because he's an Eagles fan for me saying that. But do people realize what Jalen Hurts did last season and the type of numbers he had? I mean, this guy was putting up Madden type numbers, video game type numbers, particularly in the first half of the season. And when you look back at the Super Bowl, let's go back to that Super Bowl. When you see how well he was playing the first half, he was controlling the first two quarters of that game. Jalen Hurts couldn't get off the field. The Chiefs defense had no answer for Jalen Hurts. They couldn't get him off the field. Jalen Hurts was having his way, was making plays, was moving the ball through the air. He was running, able to gain a chunk of yards. Jalen Hurts is that dude. That's him right there. Jalen Hurts is the man. And let me tell you something. Jalen Hurts is on his way to being a top tier quarterback in this league as well. He's definitely earned my respect. I respect the hell out of his game. It's that blood, sweat, and tears that you see from him. And this is a guy who never quits. He never gives up on himself. And what I like about Jalen Hurts the most is his exceptional character. The way he conducts himself on and off the field. I think his teammates gravitate to him really well because he is a leader of man and he has definitely earned the respect in that locker room. So look out for the Eagles and look out for Jalen Hurts and look out for that Eagles defense as well. The Eagles will be just fine. The Eagles, to me, are the team to beat in the NFC East.
They definitely are the team to beat, and Jalen Hurts been had that since he was in high school. I mean, I've seen Jalen Hurts play personally. He stayed down from Houston, 30 minutes away from the house where I stay at now. He always had that leadership. He always had that hunger and aggressiveness in him. Even though when he made some mistake, he always found a way to come back and make it up. He never put his teammates up under the bus. He always tell himself where he can get better at, how he can get better, and also he's a very good guy, man. He's a very good guy, and he's gonna be a force to be reckoned with in this league. I'm just happy for his success. Happy that I actually seen him play in person, but seeing him in the NFL right now doing the same things he did in high school, that's just a sign of a grown man. And then this man is so strong, man. This man can lift at least 600 pounds, man. A lot of people can't do that. You ain't going to see a lot of quarterbacks that can just pick up something like that, 700, 600 pounds, and just lift it like that. You're not going to see too much of that. Man got a lot of grown man strength up in him. So other than that, man, I think the Eagles are a force to be reckoned with in the NFC East. And throughout the whole NFC entirely, I think they're a force to be reckoned with.
Now, there's another team in the NFC East to keep your eyes on, and that is the New York Giants. The upstart New York Giants, they surprised a lot of people last season. They came out of nowhere, had a very successful run under new head coach Brian Daboll. If I pronounced his name right, Brian Daboll.
Brian Daboll. Yeah, you got it.
Daboll. He did a good job. He came from the Buffalo Bills and made an immediate impact on that team. I think the players quickly brought into his coaching style. He quickly turned that team around and guided that team nearly to the playoffs. Or did they get in the playoffs? I can't remember.
Yeah, they went to the playoffs last year.
Yeah, they went to the playoffs. Oh, that's right. That's right. They played against the Vikings, right?
Yeah, they beat Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yeah, they beat Minnesota. That's right. You're right. And you know, they did a great job running the football consistently well. They have a great rush attack with Saquon Barkley, which is who we're about to talk about now because he settled for a 1-year deal. And I want to get your thoughts on that because, look, we're talking about a guy who wanted a long-term contract to stay with the Giants. And Saquon Barkley was looking for the years. And now he is getting a 1-year deal. What are your thoughts on that? I think what it is that the Giants are being stubborn here, that they don't want to pay him. They don't want to give him a long-term contract. And the reason I say that is because we often talk about, Coach, how devalued the running back position is. We often have this discussion that the running back market is not as valuable as, say, the quarterback market or a defensive tackle or a player of that nature, right? And we always talk about that. NFL running backs have talked about this as well, how devalued their market is. And I mean, that it's no fair game for running backs because running backs don't have the same lifespan that a quarterback does, or that a linebacker has, or that a defensive tackle has. So, I mean, it although it's a valuable position on the field in terms of dollars and cents, it's the most devalued position. But the run game is a very vital piece to any franchise. a lot of teams live on running the football, and a lot of teams' foundation is the ground game. We've seen that with the Eagles last year, early on in the season. I thought their foundation was the run game, how well they ran the football. The Cowboys, you could say the same thing about the Cowboys when Ezekiel Elliott was in his prime and before he got paid big money, top dollar. He was a huge part of that team's success running the football, and that also was able to alleviate some of the pressure off of Dak Prescott. So while the position is devalued, it's the running back still holds some type of value because you have to establish that run game. And I truly believe this. You have to establish that run game to open up the rest of your offense.
Yeah, that's a must. You have to establish your run game at all. Every team wants to come in when you go into a game. You want to try to establish the run the best way you can. And that's what the Giants did all year last year. They rolled through Saquon. The offense was going through Saquon Barkley pretty much last year. And Saquon Barkley with the 1,400 rush yards was really good, was really great. Daniel Jones they was able to keep the football out of Daniel Jones' hands as well. They were able to limit his turnovers, and you got to just give Brian Daboll all the credit. They don't have the best receiving core. The receiving core is not really good. It's not really good. But Saquon Barkley, his worth, his value, it seems to be playing a factor of this team and the reason why this team was winning. Another factor in that, why he's not got his contract, is his injury history. His injury history is kind of off. I'm surprised they're hesitant to, give him that deal. Josh Jacobs, hasn't gotten this deal yet, and I think that's something that's going to come back and probably hurt the Raiders if they don't go ahead and reach an agreement with him. But Saquon Barkley, settled for less. I mean, I know if you're Saquon Barkley, I know he's going to training camp and he's going in training camp right now. He's doing well in training camp. But other than that, seeing Andrew Thomas get a 5-year, $117 million deal, seeing your offensive lineman do that, it kind of stings for Saquon Barkley. But Saquon Barkley, I'm banking on they hesitate a little bit because of his injury history. So that's why he kind of settled for less, and then he probably didn't want to miss training camp or miss throughout the half of the season like a Le'Veon Bell did. It ended up hurting him. But one thing about when you on a 1-year deal, you put more pressure on the organization. If you're having come out and have an even better season or probably the same season, you put more pressure on the organization to pay you what you are worth.
That is true. And let's say if he goes off this season, what are the Giants going to do then? The Giants are going to be put in a tough position where they might have to pay him if they want to keep him around, because another team will be glad to take him. There's a number of teams that can use a running back. There will be a slew of teams that would offer Saquon Barkley. And I feel like this. So I feel like this with Saquon Barkley. I feel that he is the heart and soul of that offense. It's not Daniel Jones. Yes, Daniel Jones had a more consistent season last season, and he had that phenomenal playoff game that everyone raved about, that everyone went crazy about. There was people cheering him on like he was Joe Montana. I was like, time out. Wait a minute. We're talking about this guy like he's Joe Montana. We can treat him like he's a superhero and everything, but let's drop the comparisons about him being this elite quarterback, because he is not in the elite class. He had a successful season because Brian Daboll did a great job, making sure his team could succeed in big moments. And that's what you saw last season with the Giants. And that's why everyone was able to thrive. Everyone knew their role. And then they executed really well running the football. So again, that takes pressure off of the quarterback. Daniel Jones could, be more effective at the quarterback position because he had a tremendous running back behind him. He had a guy that could run the football and that could gain a chunk of yards. So now you have a quarterback that's passing less and not throwing 40 or 50 times a game.
Yep. That was a great job by Brian Daboll. Right there of coaching, knowing he putting his offense through Saquon Barkley, establishing the run game. I'll say I don't think Daniel Jones is actually that bad of a quarterback. I think he's a pretty okay quarterback. When
he's decent.
He's decent. Yeah, he's decent. And, he does have a lack of weapons, but it's nothing wrong with being a game manager. And a lot of people think that is wrong when you say, hey, he's just a game manager. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you don't put the ball in harm's way and turn the ball over and give your defense a chance to go out there and stop them, that's fine. That's fine. The more you don't turn the ball over, the better the offense could possibly be. So it's nothing wrong of being a game manager and not turning the ball over, but you just got to give credit to the coaching staff and Brian Daboll from giving Saquon Barkley involved, whether it was the run game or the passing game, getting the ball in his hands, which opened it up for some read option with Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones is scary with his legs. He had 790 yards last year, so that's another option. He definitely used it well. But again, there's nothing wrong with being a game manager, man. As long as you're not turning the football over, you're not putting the teams in harm's way. It's nothing wrong with that. But Saquon Barkley definitely is the catalyst of this team and the engine to make this team go. That's no doubt about it. And a lot of pressure is going to be, if he has the same season that he had last year or have even better, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the New York Giants going into the next offseason to pay him.
He's the engine that makes this team go, and you're right. This is going to put a lot of pressure on the Giants to pay him. And you know what? I think they would pay him only because they know how important he is to their offense. The offense runs much smoother when he's having success. And I think if you don't have him after next season, Daniel Jones is in trouble. I think we could see a drop-off in production. I really think we could see a drop-off in production if he doesn't have that security blanket. Because look, Saquon Barkley is his security blanket. And I mean, when the dude stays healthy, he's hard to bring down to the ground. He's hard to tackle because he's good at finding the gaping holes. He's good at, exploding, and he can get up the middle and take off. And he's really dangerous in open field. We know how dangerous he is in open field, but he has that escapability. He has that ability to spin, work his way out of traffic. He could use the edges. He could beat defenders. He could make tacklers miss. Saquon Barkley is one of the best running backs in the league when he's healthy. No question about it. And again, like I said earlier, he is the heart and soul of that offense. Without him, the Giants are nothing. I'll just put it that way. The Giants are absolutely nothing without Saquon Barkley. They need their guy, but they got 1 year to figure this out. And like you said, if he has a monster season, because he's in a contract year, signing a 1 year deal. So let's just say if he has one of those seasons, a season to remember, and he has a career year, then yes, the Giants are going to be put under a lot of pressure, and it's going to come down to decision time. A decision will have to be made, whether or not you commit to him long term or you let him walk in free agency. But that will be a very painful day for all Giants fans to see Saquon Barkley walk out on the Giants and sign elsewhere in the near future.
Definitely. I think, like you said, we both said he's the engine to make that team go. Everything starts with him. The offense actually open up the run game for the receivers to get open, even though the receivers ain't the best. The receivers ain't the best of receivers on the outside. I'll say Saquon Barkley is definitely a pressure year for the New York Giants if he has the same year. Same thing goes on with the Las Vegas Raiders. Josh Jacobs was really actual outside him and Devontae Adams. They were the reason why the Raiders won most of those games last year. And now Josh Jacobs are looking for a contract. Don't be surprised next year because I obviously think the Raiders may be one of the worst teams in the NFL next year. If Josh Jacobs has a good season, they don't pay him. Don't be surprised if Devontae Adams ends up wanting out and getting more frustrated, end up wanting to out by next year.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I wouldn't be surprised at all. You never know what next year has in store for you. And I mean, sometimes these players, man, they get disgruntled and they need a change of scenery, or things are just not working out with their contract. It becomes a contract dispute, and then players move on. They go somewhere else where they know they can get the money and where they can get paid and where they feel like they are welcome to, do it somewhere else. But Coach, we got one last topic before we get out of here. It's baseball. It's baseball, but it's baseball's most popular player, and to me, he's the world's best player. It's Shohei Ohtani. Now, as you know, the Angels have opted to keep Shohei Ohtani. They took him off the market, and I think by taking him off the market, this is a risk. You're taking a huge risk by not moving Shohei Ohtani before Tuesday's trade deadline. I mean, this changes the climate at the trade deadline. This changes the whole scenario for a number of teams because you were hearing rumors, and there were rumors swirling around that Shohei Ohtani could end up with the Orioles, the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks inquired about him. The Orioles inquired about him. I felt the Orioles was a good place for him to land. He would have been a rental there. There's no way he would have stayed after next season. There's no way he would have resigned in Baltimore. I don't think he wants to be on the East Coast. I think he wants to be on the West Coast, wherever he ends up. So the Orioles would have had a chance to rent him for the next few months and make a run because they are a team that can contend this year, and they have a lot of young prospects that they could give up to acquire Shohei Ohtani. They got a lot of assets that they can give back to the Angels. So I felt like that deal would have made a lot of sense had he gone to a place like that. You were hearing the Giants that could get in on the mix. The Seattle Mariners was another team that people were talking about. The Mariners, to me, are a sleeper team in the offseason that can land Shohei Ohtani because they have a huge Japanese following in Seattle. The fans even chanted during the All-Star game that they want Shohei Ohtani, that they will claim him as their own if he decides to land there. The Dodgers are another team to look out for because the Dodgers have their fat wallet open. They always willing to spend big money on a big name player like Shohei Ohtani. But I think the Angels are making a huge mistake to not trade him away before the trade deadline and get something in return for him before he just walks. So basically, you're just going to let him walk. You're going to let him decide your future because that's basically what you're doing here. You're letting him decide your future. The Angels are once again failing to invest in their future by letting Shohei Ohtani hang around. But look, they decided that instead of becoming sellers, they will become buyers because they traded for Lucas Giolito. They got another ace to go into their rotation now. So that was a good pickup for them because what that does, that shores up their starting rotation. That provides some stability in their starting rotation. But I think they waited too late to try to convince Shohei Ohtani that they are, hey, we know what? We're willing to build around you. We want to try to keep you satisfied. We want to try to renegotiate things with you at the end of the season. So the way we're going to do that is by trying to build a contending team around you. And the Angels are making it be known that they feel that they can contend this year, that they feel they can get him to the playoffs finally, that they feel they can actually get Shohei Ohtani to the playoffs. And now they are showing that they are competitive enough to hold on to Shohei Ohtani after this season. Can they actually persuade him to stay with the Angels now that they finally made moves to get a guy like Giolito? They're going for it. They're going for it. Basically, they're going for it. The Angels are going for it. They feel confident enough in themselves that they can get into the playoffs and be a tough out for a number of teams. But they've done this before. They've tried this before. They've sacrificed a solid investment in their future for a superstar who's basically saying, you know what? I don't think I want to be here anymore because there's no real chance for me to win here. What are your thoughts on this? I don't know if the Angels are making the right decision. I think this is too risky of a decision not to give him up and get assets in return to start a rebuild.
Well, you brought up the playoff scenarios and stuff for them. It won't even be a playoff scenario because they ain't gonna even make it. They ain't gonna even make it past the Astros or the Rangers. They won't even make it. So Shohei Ohtani is gonna go on out there. He might well. The Angels may get ready for him to walk. I don't think they're gonna sign him back. I think it's too late. They invested in pitching too late where they should have been doing that their whole time. They've been invested in bats throughout their careers. You look at all the bats they've been invested in. They got Josh Hamilton, who was added coming into their organization. They got Albert Pujols, who was good for a spurt, but then he declined. They got Anthony Rendon after his World Series year with the Nationals, and he could never put it together or stay healthy. They did end up getting C.J. Wilson, who had a great season previous with the Rangers, and then he did not work out at all. So the organization messed up on a lot of moves. They gave out a lot of money. You remember Justin Upton? They gave all that money to, and he didn't pan out. But they never fully invested in pitching. They also got the guy that had a very good season with you guys, probably his best season of his career. We talking about
Tyler Anderson.
Tyler Anderson, he has not really panned out for him this year either. So they may mess up on a lot of mistakes, and I think it will be a little bit too little, too late for them. I would have traded them if the Orioles was ready to make a package for them. I wouldn't be surprised they had one already to give out to them. They had already ready-made players to give to the Angels. You wouldn't have to worry about prospects because you had people that were going to trade that would be ready to play as of right now. And the Orioles, that would be the Orioles' problem to have to sign them. That would be pressure on the Orioles to have to sign them. And if Shohei Ohtani is on a winning team, I think he would consider coming back to the Orioles if he would have got there and been on a winning team. Now, I think that he would have been in a discussion, not saying he would have stayed there, but he probably would have been in a discussion. But other than that, I think, the Angels clearly messed up everything over there. They should have definitely got – you don't let a great player or a superstar go out like that, knowing you're not going to make the playoffs, knowing you haven't made the playoffs. Even in Mike Trout's era, you make the playoffs just one time, as good as he is. You got arguably two of the best players in baseball. Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball. Agree with you on that. But the second best player in baseball when he's on the field, Mike Trout, and you're wasting their careers. Great players like that, you don't want them to go into agencies. Yeah. You don't want them to go into agencies like that and have to decide if he want to stay with you or not. But the organization have not shown they are a winning organization. And if I'm have to bank on it, I think Ohtani will consider walking and being on a West Coast team being on someone on the West Coast or somewhere in the NL or something like that. I know it's maybe a West Coast team that he's going to end up with.
I already know he's walking. I think he's out. He said he had planned to finish his season with the Angels. He did say that through his translator, but I don't think he has the desire to stay there and sign a long-term deal and be an Angel for the rest of his career. I think that's all out the window. I think the Angels screwed it all up, and they had a chance to keep a generational talent, and they had a lot of years to figure it out and build around him, and they didn't do it. They waited till the final year of his contract to finally start building around him when it's too late. So yeah, I just don't see Shohei Ohtani stand beyond this season. I don't see it at all.
Yeah, I don't see it at all. I think this is last year in the Angels uniform. But if which is he going to walk? We can agree on he's going to walk. That he will not be an Angel next year. I would consider trading Mike Trout as well. If you lose Ohtani, might well just go in full rebuild mode at that time.
Yep.
Just let him go. Just let him walk. Just let him go. Final trade for Mike Trout. Just final trade for Mike Trout.
Yep. Just find a trade. Find a city where he can go and contend. Because you're just wasting these guys' prime, and they're just too talented. And it's a real shame to watch their primes go to waste. Because they've been on a lousy Angels team that has failed to put, the right players around them so they can thrive and they can have a chance to get into the playoffs. Because I think all of us as baseball fans, we would love to see Shohei Ohtani in the playoffs.
Yep.
We would love to see what Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout can do together in the playoffs. And it's a real shame that we haven't seen it. We're talking about two of the greatest players in baseball, and yet we never can see these guys in the playoffs.
Yep. You only see Mike Trout in the playoffs one time in his career. That was against the Kansas City Royals, the Warriors. They got swept. So it's a shame you have the best two players in baseball and you can't even make it to a playoff. You're not even close to being in the playoffs. That's what's so bad about it. You're not even close to making it.
That's what's troubling, right? Yep. You're not even close to making the playoffs. You're always finishing third or fourth in your division. I just don't know. And a lot of it has to do with ownership. Because they haven't always made the right personnel decisions. They haven't been willing to spend money on the right players. And then when they do spend money, I always say this about the Angels. When they do decide to spend money, they spend money on the wrong damn player.
Yeah.
They spend money on a guy that's past his prime. Albert Pujols.
Yep.
Josh Hamilton. Yep. Vernon Wells. The list goes on.
Yep.
But man, we reached the end of our show. It's been an awesome show once again, and I want to thank all our viewers out there for tuning in, for watching the show. Thank you guys, and please don't forget to share this show. Don't forget to share this episode with everybody. Get it out there. Put this show out there. Share it on multiple platforms. Tell everyone about the Sports Judge and tell everyone about Coach. Tell them where you guys can find us. And also, I want to thank Coach for joining me again tonight, for co-hosting this show with me. Yep. It's been fun once again, as always. We'll be back soon with another episode of Speaking with Judgment. As always, we're going to talk sports. We got some of the best content out there. And as you guys know, you guys can stream this show live from my YouTube channel, The Sports Judge, and you guys can also stream it live from the page right here on Facebook. Stream it live. And also, if you guys missed any previous shows, you guys are more than welcome to go back and check those out as well. And you guys can also hit the bell icon to get notifications as well. So I really appreciate it, everyone. It's been a blast to be on tonight. Time flies when you're having fun, but it's always great to chat sports, and it's always great to chat sports with Coach Dante. Coach, any final words before we get out of here tonight?
Hey man, thank you for having me on, man. You already know if you need someone, man, I'm one DM away. You already know how to get a hold to me. So anytime I get on talk to you about sports, man, or listen to a video of you going crazy, going with a rant or something like that, I'm all down for it, man. So I'm happy for you to talk sports with you, get to know you not only as a sports analyst, but as a friend, as a person as well. But like I say, anytime you need me on, anytime you need me on, you already know how to do it.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. And everyone watching, thanks again. You guys have a great night. If I don't see you guys before the weekend, have a great weekend. Most likely I will. Most likely we will have another episode of Speaking with Judgment. Maybe tomorrow. It depends on how I feel. If not tomorrow, Saturday for sure. But we'll definitely have a show before the weekend is out. But you guys have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy time with your family and friends, and be safe out there. For Coach Dante and myself, you guys take care. You guys have a great night.
Have a great night, you guys.
Take care. See you guys next.